kind of taken a liking to it. So I'm going to rule Earth.
Lately, he started talking about taking over Earth. I'm not sure how he would go about starting to take over Earth.
Hey Jefferson, how you doing? My name is John Nguyen. I'm a mentor and animation mentor. I'll be doing your critique today. I've been animator for the last 20-some years. Currently working at Disney as a animation principal, which is equivalent to a senior animator or lead animator there. And I'm taking a look at your shot here. And your congratulations on winning the 11-second club. Well done, especially with doing it in a traditional 2D animation. I know it's a ton more work than doing it in CG because you don't have the computer drawing it for you. So great job there. I like what you've done here. I think it's really great. I think the character designs are really fun. They really remind me of classic Disney, Aristocats and Lady and the Tramp and so forth, and 101 Dalmatians, which are some of my favorite movies. And so I think character design is really fun. I like your take on the audio clip, doing it as a kind of a news broadcast or they call it a conference kind of setting where you are watching the cat at first and it ends up being a videotape of the cat, and I think that's a really great interpretation, a great way to go about it. I also like some of the choices you've made that you avoided by not being literal about things, and so I think those are all really great. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so I think this is all really good. Now, I mentioned earlier you weren't literal with it, which is really great. But at the same time, I don't feel like these gestures that he's doing really relate to anything that he's saying, right? So he says, I'm going to take a liking to it, right? And I don't know if there's a real gesture that says liking, but there's the overall part of this is he has a kind of enthusiasm, right? A little bit of excitement, like he's excited to tell you what his decision is. And so I'm not really picking that up, except for his smile. His smile communicates a lot and a lot of excitement, and I think that's good, but his overall body gesture, I'm not picking that up. And one thing I noticed, and this is, these are still what would be considered, semi-rough, partially cleaned up. But so here I would add, when you go to the final cleanup and the final tie down of these drawings, you just really want to ease that in, I think that hold is a little strong through these drawings. I mean, it's the same drawing here from frame 75 to 85. So you got 10 frames of the same drawing, and it's really pretty noticeable. So I would burn that in, as I say, just really ease that pose in and just stretch that hold out just even more. So you cut the number of frames, the number of times you're using the same drawing down to maybe 3, right? And really burn that in. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to draw every drawing of those 10 frames. You can do it on 2s and it would work just fine. You just want to burn it in. Another thing, there's just a continuity issue here, because here he ends in this pose, and then we cut right to this scene where he's licking himself. So that confused me a little bit. I think it would help if you got him started into that motion, started to bend down at the end of this, and then maybe you can cut to this, and that'd be okay. Or cut to this and have him finish going into this motion. But to cut right from here to here, just a little bit of a continuity kind of a thing that I was not quite, didn't quite understand. So I think what would be nice here is if you can add something to just show him kind of thinking a little bit, right? Well, it depends if you want to, the way you want to go with it. If you want to go with that he's already made the decision and that he's just telling us what the decision is, that he's going to rule on Earth, then I think the way you're going for it is fine. I'm not sure where he's looking because it, he looks like he's looking somewhere down here. Is he looking at his hand? I'm not quite sure. But I think it would be nice to, because he says, if you give him one, I'm going to rule, and you have him kind of looking up. If you just have him kind of up like that. Okay, this is my brush. Sorry about that. To give him a little bit like he's thinking, I'm going to rule, and then look back, and then quickly look down to Earth. I think that would be really, because then this whole reaction, like, oh yeah, okay, now I've decided, works. Earth. It's like, because you have this expression like, he just realized what he's doing. So I think giving him a moment to think about it would really help make that work. You gave him a choker with a diamond. So at first glance, I thought this was a female cat, and then you hear the man's voice. And the whole design is kind of feminine to me, and so on the one hand, it's kind of funny to have a man's voice come out of a feminine-looking cat. They did that in forget the name of that movie, but the cat's name is Snowball, and it looks like a female cat, but it's a male cat. So I think that's kind of funny, but it just threw me off a little bit at the beginning. So now the thing that I didn't quite understand is that first of all, I would probably move this down to here. Like, you don't need a big microphone, and it's kind of coming up into his space. I would just clear his whole frame of his face of anything. But the cat is pretty much a cat, right? It does cat behaviors. Like, it's on all fours, and it does gesture with one paw, but other than that, it has pretty much cat behaviors, and you're trying to fit what he's saying within the behavior of a cat. I think that's great. I really like it when you have animated animals acting like what the animals they are, instead of being anthropomorphized and acting like a human, like walking on two legs and things like that. On the other hand, you have the dog who is anthropomorphized. He's wearing clothes. He's got a hand that is working a remote, wearing glasses. And so it's a little, I don't know, the two just don't fit in the same universe for me, right? I think it would be more fun if the dog acted like a dog, right? If he was sitting on all fours like a dog. He could probably still wear a suit or a tie even, but just be more dog-like. I know you want to try to play him down because he's like a basset hound, and that's the kind of their behavior is very subdued. But I would probably throw in something here. Lately he's been talking about Earth. Maybe just give the hand a little movement. He's a little too stiff for me, right? and feels a little robotic. I love this part where he looks at the remote, just takes a second to look at the remote to figure out which button is the pause button. I think that's great. It would work a little more effectively if you had more than one button on there, but that's a minor thing. The dialogue, the lip sync on "To Take Over Earth" is a little lost right there. You have just two poses in the mouth to take over Earth. I think you probably need one more in there. And then this turn is just a little robotic. I think you should lead the head a little more. Let the head lead that turn just by a few frames. I think that would feel really great. Yeah, this is feeling a little robotic with everything turning at the same time and the hand dropping at the same time. So start to break that up, right? Same with this move here. Everything kind of starts and stops together, and you just need something leading. And I would just give a little more emphasis, a little more overlap on that click. And now it just comes down and locks in. So you just want a little bit more on that. Just little, these are just little things. Unfortunately, being that you have to draw every frame, little things still add up to a lot of work. This move, when I'm looking at his head, it's just a little linear. I think, it kind of moves, like this, right? And I think it would just be nice if you just dip his nose down and have it move in a little bit more of an arc. It can be a shallow arc. Just dip his nose down and have it come up, and then really, just like with the cat, just really burn into that hold instead of just hitting a stop, right? Here, as he's clicking, he can continue to kind of just move forward, just idle, just to kind of drift forward just a little bit and then come back down. And then when he comes back, again, just dip that nose down and give me a nice little arc coming out of it. Okay? Cool, man. Not much, really not much to say here. Just little things I think would be great. Okay? I'm not quite sure why the cat all of a sudden stumbles like this. Right? Because he jumps, he seems to be taking off fine, and then he's falling. So, and cats are famous for their ability to always land on their feet in their coordination. So, a little confusion there, but not a big deal. All right? Great job overall. Fantastic. I think it looks super good. I think, I would encourage you to go ahead and really finish this one off, tie it down, the drawings, and put in the in-betweens that you need, and the cleanup drawings that you need, and really finish this one off. But you did a really fantastic job. Great. I'll talk to you later. Great job.